how about we'll step through the PAG team on the line, and then I'll step through the rest of the participants. Hinsu, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, just in case the PAC team, please just mute yourself and or others, and if it's in your turn. And my name is Hansuno, and modern manager at PAC.
Caroline?
Yeah, Caroline from PAC in the modeling team.
Great. Eric?
Claire Kramer, land use modeler.
Great. We have Paul on the line.
Hello, Paul Casertano, Planning Director here at PAC.
Great, thank you. I forgot I didn't have my video on. We have support with Crystal, Zonia, and Jeff on the line as well. So we have a new committee member representing AOEO in the state. Jim, do you mind introducing yourself?
Well, I'm Jim Chen, state demographer. I was recently invited to be a part of this group, and I'm happy to participate.
Great, thank you so much. And we have another new to the group member representing Pasquiyaki, Rebecca Lewis. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, good morning. I'm sorry, good afternoon. Unfortunately, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, unfortunately, my camera is not working right here.
Okay.
But again, my name is Rebecca Lewis, and I'm representing the Pasquiyaki tribe. I've been working for the division for a few years now, but I'm recently transitioning. So I will be filling in as a representative. And I'm happy to be here, so thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I'm glad you can join us. Dylan, your video's on, so how about you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Dylan Perry, Town of Sarita.
Great, thanks, good to see you. I can't shift my screen over to where my camera is. And then we have Mark with the county.
Good afternoon, Mark Holden, Principal Planner with Pima County Development Services Department.
Hey, Mark, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
You too.
And we also have Patty with the county, sorry.
Hi, I'm Patty Davidson, and I work for Pima County in the Budget Finance Division.
Great, thanks for joining us. And we have Denise. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, Janice Valencia with the City of South Tucson. I don't think I'm doing the camera correctly, so I'm doing it from my phone just because we haven't got Zoom set up on my computer just yet. So yeah, I'm with the City of South Tucson. I know you guys formerly know Mick Jensen. He used to be part of this group, so I'm going to be filling in for a little while.
Great, thank you so much. And
You're welcome, thank you.
we could hear you clearly, and I don't have my camera figured out either. So here we are. Thanks for joining us. And then Anita.
Hi, everybody. I'm Anita McNamara. I'm with Town of Marana Planning, and I'm standing in today for Steve Cheslock, who is on vacation.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so for our non-voting members, let's, wait, we have Dean with the city. I'm sorry, Dean. And introducing yourself.
Dean Trammell, City of Tucson, Tucson Water Department, Planning and Engineering.
Great, thank you. And so we have a few new faces with non-voting members. Mirella, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Mirella Hermatica with Pima County Wastewater.
Great, thank you. It's good to have you on board. And we have Anna.
Hi, I'm Ana Unda from Pima Community College, and I'm a research project manager.
Great, and thank you for joining us. And George, mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm George Hammond. I'm Director of the Economic and Business Research Center in the Eller College of Management at the University of Arizona.
Great, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. It's good to see you.
You too.
And we have a new representative from the University of Arizona Geography Department. Jason, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Jurgovich. I'm faculty in the School of Geography, Development, Environment at the U of A.
Great. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And Scott, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, Scott Robidoux, Manager of Planning for Tucson Airport Authority.
Great. And I believe I covered most folks, but I left out David Zinda from PAG. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Certainly. I'm David Zinda from PAG. Of course, I'm policy analyst. I'm just sitting in, newer employee, just learning what this is all about. Nice to meet you all.
Great. Thanks for joining. And did I miss anyone else? I think I got everyone.
Patty Davidson.
Patty introduced, Patty introduced herself. So
And
I think
Sean,
we're
Sean
ready.
Brown.
Oh, Sean. Thank you. Sean, how are you doing? Do you mind introducing yourself?
Yes. I'm Sean Brown, Tucson Unified School District. My time's gonna be a little bit short. I got an appointment to be at 2 o'clock, so I'm just here to see what's going on. Great.
Thanks for joining us. And with that, I believe we've wrapped up our introductions, so we can move on to the next slide. In-kind form. Regional planning efforts are enhanced by recording time donated by attendees, volunteers, and participants. PAG collects data on the time dedicated to meetings and activities to apply for use as matching funds for grants and federal dollars. If you are paid with federal dollars, please let us know now. Time spent in preparation for this meeting will be estimated by PAG staff who are knowledgeable of the agenda and meeting materials. At the conclusion of this meeting, the session report will automatically calculate your time spent in this meeting. Time spent working on PAG or RTA initiatives, programs, and special projects may also be eligible for consideration for matching funds. And with that, we'll start our agenda item 3 and beginning of our presentations, and fiscal year 2021 building permit collection. Caroline, take it away.
Hi, everyone, and it's good to see some new faces and good to see some old faces and some old friends. Right now, I'm first present the building permit collection. See if I can get the, okay, got it. It's kind of slow. This is my first presentation of today, and I'm trying to roll the second slide. It's slow. Let me first introduce why and what we collect for the building permit. And then I will explain what numbers we collect from you guys' jurisdiction. And the last thing is just a little bit analyze for what we got. Okay, it's got a little bit slow on my computer. Okay, first of all, why we collect the building permit data? Mainly because AOEO asks for the data. And AOEO means Arizona Office of Economic Opportunity. And they collect the data for two main purposes. One is AOEO, they do the population estimate, and they use the building permit data for input data. And then AOEO also use the numbers that we gave to them and turn around to give Census Bureau, because Census Bureau also have their population estimate program, and they also generate their annual estimate using different methodology, but still using building permit information. And then besides give data to AOEO, PAG also use those building permit numbers for our models and programs such as land use model, transportation model. And then once a while, we may get some public, general public to request how many new houses we build lately. We just get the aggregated number to share with the general public. My mouse slow. Okay. I'm sorry, this is very, very slow on that one. Okay, so what, how we collect the data? Mainly, each cycle is starting from July 1st to next year, June 30. And we usually are asking for monthly data from the jurisdiction. But if sometimes if you cannot give us a monthly, we still would be happy to get it quarterly or half year. And AOEO, they usually request the data twice a year. The first time they will ask for data in January for the records from July to December. And then sometime in January, sometime in July, they will ask for another 6 months data from January to June. So AOEO sum up the records in jurisdiction level and to generate the sub-county population estimate. And the report usually is supposed to be published in every December 15. Okay. I have a trouble with control the mouse. I'm showing you what we're going to get out. This is the what I'm trying to tell you, that what, how, and we got the number. What kind of data we collect from you guys? We collect the records for completion permits, and also we collect the record for demolition permits. The completion permits, we're using the completion days. The demolition permits use the issue days, because generally, when you issue the demolition permits, that means the house is not livable. That means that house is considered is out of the housing unit inventory. So that's why we use the issue date, even the house has not completely demolished. The records are coded by the housing types using the Census Bureau guidelines. For example, 101 is stand for single family units. 103 is duplex, or 105 means apartment complex. And then usually 600 level is demolition. Now 645 is single family, and 648 means apartment complex demolition. Once in a while, we may have the mobile home demolition. Usually we just call it 999. Sorry, that is I have trouble for my mouse. Okay, this table to show you that what we collect in fiscal year 2021. What we call it fiscal year 2021 means July 2020 to June 2021. And PAC totally collect almost 4,000 completion records and 95 demolition records, which means the net increase of housing units is about 3,700. And there were slightly less new houses built or finished compared to fiscal year 2020, which is were 4,300 units net increase. That probably because of a pandemic, and so the construction probably a little bit slower, and also the shortage of supplies and because of the supply changes. So that's why we guess that maybe that's the reason why it's the total housing unit was a little bit less than the previous year. This table is show the permits for each jurisdiction by each housing type. And you can see that South Tucson is a smaller number, but I want to make sure that I tell you that this is the South Tucson number is only for July to December. We have not able to get the number for January to from January to June. Next slide. Sorry, I got today. Okay, the next slide is the Miranda completion records for fiscal year 2021. And you see the majority of units finished around springtime. And actually, Miranda have more houses built in this fiscal year than the previous year. And this is already, and looks like already have a really significant increase of the completed housing unit than the previous year. Charada is pretty active throughout the whole year, and we also have some small increase of the completed units. Then let's look at the South Tucson. South Tucson, we have from July to December, we have 2 units completed, but we have actually, we collect quite a lot of demolition, which got 20 demolition. So the net increase is negative 18, which is a significant more demolition than the previous year. Okay, let's look at Tucson. Tucson have the kind of population, the completed housing unit, and particularly the fall and winter, you get less houses completed. Generally speaking, the total completed housing units have about 500 units less than the previous year. I'm so sorry. It's mainly my mouse. It just. Okay, let's look at the Pima County balance, and also have a decrease about 200 units less than the previous year. Let's look at the some analysis. You can look at here that this analysis mainly to see each jurisdiction take them how long to finish the housing units. Generally speaking, Charita seems like and South Tucson looks like you can finish houses, a single family unit in less than half year. And Miranda took about half year to finish a single family, and then take about 2 years to finish a compact. Apartment complex. But the apartment complex probably have larger housing unit, a larger apartment units. So for each unit point of view, it is probably take actually about half month to finish 1 unit. And all values take about little bit over a year actually to finish the duplex, and take a little bit over half year to finish 1 single family. And we'll all continue to look at the completion rate. This is a Miranda. The single family unit, if we can finish generally about half year, you can finish about 70% of houses you finish in half year, and then about 90% of permit will finish within a year. And look at the All Valley. And All Valley generally also about half of the permit is finished in half year, and then within 1 year you get about 90% of the permit finish. Charita actually pretty efficient, and if most of the permit will finish in half year, and then within 1 year all the permits are already complete. South Tucson generally it take about 9 months to finish. The average travel about 9 months to finish all the permits and all the units. And then we don't have really all the detailed information for Tucson, so we just did not do any analysis for Tucson. But for Pima County balance, about half the permits complete in half year, and about 80-something% complete within a year. So this is the end of my presentation. Do you have any questions about the building permit?
Okay, thank you, Caroline. And if you have any just a problem in using just your mouse, then I can just move forward and but just let me know for the next presentation.
Maybe because my laptop, my computer have a little bit kind of where responding this right now is kind of it's not
Okay,
responding.
yeah, just then just I will actually just move forward the slides and let me know just or just I can just move forward and based on your just the time.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for moving forward. So Caroline, thanks for that presentation. You know, there was a big thing that happened in the last fiscal year with the global pandemic. So the fact that the numbers were a little bit, overall permitting numbers were a bit lower than the FY20, half of FY20 was pre-pandemic. So, but all of FY21 was within that environment. So thanks for sharing that information. And Caroline, do you mind stepping into the next presentation for the Arizona Office of Economic Opportunities, July 1st, 2021 population estimates?
Yeah, absolutely. Hishu, I think you can help me to move the slide because I just some problem with my laptop and I'm trying to fix it. So this is a population estimate that generated by the AOEO, as well as Arizona Office of Economic Opportunities. Next slide, please. Next, yeah. General guideline is I explained what is the population estimate and what you use this population for. And then I will show you the Pima County population estimate figures and also each jurisdiction population estimates. Next slide. Yeah. Okay, what is the population estimate? First of all, Census Bureau will conduct the census headcount every 10 years, but it is very expensive to conduct one census. So you can't really do the census every year. The only way to do it is just we estimate the population in between two censuses. We need to do guessing, update the population estimate. Update the population information by estimate the population for each year. So there is that was an executive order requires the AOEO to generate the population estimate for the state. So on the other hand, Census Bureau has the population estimate program to generate the estimates. Then American Community Survey also generate the populations, but with different residency rules. So that's why the population from American Community Survey would be different from Census Bureau and also AOEO. That's why sometimes when you ask for the population number for particular year, like 2021, how many people? You can possibly get 4 different numbers because you can get one estimate from AOEO, another estimate from Census Bureau, and then there may be another number from American Community Survey for 1 year estimate, and then 5 years estimate. So it could have more than one number that you can dig out. And it really depends on which number you want to use. Okay. So, and also total population, I want to explain that what's the meaning of total population. Generally, we have 2 categories. One is household population, another is full quarter population that add up together become total pop. Next one, yeah. So what is the AOEO population estimate for? That is used for state agency, and all the state agency have the required to use AOEO population estimate. And also for budget, state budget, the AOEO estimate is used for expenditure limitation. And then the Census Bureau estimates that I just mentioned from the population estimate program is for revenue sharing. That means AOEO's number is determined how much money you can spend. Census Bureau estimate is determined how much money you can get. So that's why you have actually always get two sets of population estimate. The county estimate are used for control total for the sub-county estimates. I will explain more in the later slides. First of all, we look at the county estimate first. Next slide, please. Yeah. Let's look at the county estimate. First of all, I will explain to you for household population. In the past, AOEO will use the composite method to generate the household population in 4 different age groups. Age 0 to 4 by using the birth and death data under 5 years old as an input data. And then age group 5 to 17 use the school enrollment data. And then age 18 to 64 using driving license and ID cards data as the input data. Then age 65 plus age group is using the Social Security and Medicare enrollments data to calculate the population of this age group 65 plus and then get the FH out of these two methods. So using the statistics of the age group during the census year to compare the census population of that same group to obtain the census ratio. That's how the calculation is to obtain the census ratio. And then apply the census ratio to the current year as current estimate year. So for example, July 2021 estimate, suppose use the census 2020 new base and then getting all those age group input data to get the new census ratio that for 2020 census ratio. Unfortunately, Census Bureau has not published the age group population for census 2020, so we couldn't get the new census ratio for the new from this new base. Then also look at the input data from school enrollment and have got some problem for those enrollment data in last few years. And driving license record has some inconsistency because they have a new system and the data is a little bit look where it's not quite right. So, and then the Medicare enrollment data supposed to receive it by the end of this year and still have not published. So therefore, AOU considered the composite method is not feasible for this vintage, for this new year population estimate. So they have to develop an alternative method. Next slide, please. Yeah. So AOU developed they call it forecast method. So mainly AOU used the historical population, intercensual population estimate from 1980 to 2020 as input data. And then use SPSS, want the model to guess, to forecast the future population. Mainly use the SPSS expert modeler to pick specific forecast method for each individual county. So because each county have their population different pattern, the historical pattern. So we cannot use one specific model to apply all the counties. So that's why AOEO apply different model, different forecast model used for different counties. So each county has the different forecast method picked up by SPSS. The forecast population for Pima County was generated by REMA 010. In the following slides, I will show you the estimated population generated by AOEO. Before I show you, actually, I will show you, but I want to emphasize that because the AOEO mentioned, these numbers are preliminary, and so it's still under review. It's not final, it's not published. So please, when you see this number and only for discussion purpose, please do not share this number to anyone else outside your office, and make sure not share these numbers with the general public. I make sure particularly need to emphasize that this is to show to you for discussion. and it's still under review, and don't share with anyone else. Okay, let's look at the number now. And this is the graph to show the essential estimated population. So the estimate column, it is what we have in the past, the estimated by AOEO using the estimated method. And then you see another column is a predicted column that is run by SPSS, AMIRA, that model to generate this column, these numbers in this column. And for 2021, you see the predicted number is 1,058,318. Okay, so this is a predicted population for July 1st, 2021. And this is the county total used for control for the sub-county estimate that I will show you later on in the later slides. Then you will see more of this number. Next slide, please. Yeah. So beside household population that I mentioned, I also want to explain about GQ population. So I mentioned that there's total population include the household pop and GQ pop. So after seeing the total population, here's the GQ estimate population. There are many GQ facilities, right? And particularly those small facilities like group home shelters require a lot of resources to keep track of them every year. So it is, but these facilities normally don't really have a lot of change. Normally don't have big change between years. So therefore, Census Bureau, AOEO, and PAC only checking the population in big facilities, something like the college dormitories, prison jails, those big facilities that we will keep checks every year. Otherwise, all other facilities will assume the population have no change throughout the whole decade. So assume we stick with the census number, April 1st. So we collect the GQ population for those big facility, dormitory, prisons, jail, every year and report to AOEO. So AOEO, we get give to AOEO and then compare the difference between the two different days. So you get the census day, April 1st, 2020, the GQ population, and then we got the July 1st, 21 GQ population that we collect from the facilities, and we compare the difference. So this GQ pop difference, 3,671, this is mainly those major facilities that we collect from those facilities, that dormitory and jails. So everyone else, like the nursing home, book home, shelter, remain zero change, remain no change. Okay, so you look at that as a negative. Mainly the reason is because of the pandemic. Several prisons actually been shut down, and also they have to cut down they send out the inmate home, and also they try to close down just cut down the number of inmates to decrease the density. And also U of AA closed several dormitories for the separation. So when we collect the data, we realize that we really have a significant decrease of the GQ population in these facilities. That's why we get the negative increase. Next slide, please. Okay, let's look at the household population. Let's see the Pima County total predicted population is 1,058,318. This is number I already showed you is from the predicted SPSS calculation. We also know that the GQ population was 23,829 that we showed you in the previous line. Therefore, AOEO calculated the derived household population of Pima County as 1,034,489. It's mainly the county population minus the GQ population. So column A and B, you already seen in previous slides. And we got column C. This is a divided, assumed divided household population for Pima County. And then you get this uncontrolled household population, 1,026,000. I will show you the calculation in later slides later. Yeah, you will see how I get this number. This is a summation for all six jurisdictions, add up all together to become this uncontrolled household population. Then this number, this divided population in column C, divided by the uncontrolled household population in column D to get the control factor is approximately 1.008 for Pima County. This control factor, it is to adjust the uncontrolled population to line up with control population. So basically you got 8%, every jurisdiction get a little bit 8% increase of the population to make it become the column F. So column F here actually is the summation of all the controlled household population of each individual jurisdiction, all six jurisdictions, add up together, become 1,034,000. So it should be lined up with column C. They are the same, but column F actually is a summation of all six jurisdictions controlled household population. I will show you in later slides. Then you see how we calculate. Yeah, let's look at the sub-county estimate. Next slide. Yeah. So sub-county, what's that mean? There can be all kinds of geography. Anything that under the county level is called sub-county. And this geography is called sub-county. But right here, what you usually referring to, it is incorporated places such as cities, towns, or even village in some states. In Arizona, we don't have village, but some states we do. Each state has a slightly different definition for how you consider city and towns. But here in Arizona, you need to be 1,500 people to be incorporated. That is what regulated in Arizona. For population estimates, we are talking today is using the boundary of July 1st of each estimate year. So boundary can be changed every year for each jurisdiction. So, but when you calculate, when you generate the population estimate, we use the boundary as of July 1st. Besides the incorporated place, and then you'll also estimate the unincorporated balance of county. So that means that the residual of the county, but we treat it as one jurisdiction. So we calculate separately. Yeah. So let's look at how we calculate. AOEO has also has been using the housing units method to estimate the sub-county population. The formula is using the census housing unit count. Okay, that is from the report, from the census publication to show what we could get it from the census 2020, for in this case. As this housing census housing unit count, that is the base for the calculation. Then add the net increase the housing unit since census. So here's this case is the net increase of April, May, June 2020, plus the net increase of fiscal year of 2021, means July 2020 up to June 2021. That is called fiscal year 2021. Net increase refer to all the new houses completed minus all the old houses demolished during this period of time. Next slide, please. So the total population of each jurisdiction is a summation of household population of each jurisdiction and GQ population of the same jurisdiction. Okay, look at the formula. Is the household population. Let's look at the formula of how we calculate the household population. Taking the Census Bureau housing unit count of that jurisdiction, adding the net increase of the, let me try to do this. Oh, yeah, I think you get control. Sorry, I tried to show you. Okay, so the net increase of the housing unit since census, then times the person per housing unit to get the housing unit method population. Then adding or subtracting any population change due to the annexation, because as well I mentioned that the boundary of census year is maybe not the same as what the estimate year because of the annexation. But the housing unit count for census, it is based on the boundary at that time. So we still need to make adjustment, adding or subtracting any population change because the annexation add to it. So that's why in the formula, you have an ANNPOP, that is the annexation population change since the census. The reason for that, because the housing unit is boundaries, just only census year, right? So that's why you make the adjustment. So the county total from that annexation have no change because it's just pure from the population from the annexation is purely shift from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction. So the county total from the annexation will be 0. It would not actually change, increase or decrease of population. It just purely is shift from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction. Okay, next slide. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. Okay, let's all look at more formula. The previous slide show you the household population of each jurisdiction. And right now, when you sum up all the jurisdiction of the county, that is a total. It may not be the same as the county total calculated from the county household population that we already showed you previously, right? So because we have already shown you that 1,034,000, that was the county household population that we got it in the past. So how to make it to equal? That's why we have to adjust the jurisdiction household population by calculating this formula. The formula is the county household estimate, county household population estimate by the household population estimate divided by the summation of all the jurisdiction household population and get the control factor, and then use that control factor to adjust each jurisdiction household population. And for GQ population, I've already mentioned that it is already told you that actually it is the GQ population as the census count, and then add the change for each jurisdiction, then it become the GQ population of that jurisdiction, and then add that back to the household population, become the total population. Next slide. Yeah. Okay, we show you the formula. Now I'll show you the numbers for 2021 estimate. Column A is the new housing unit for April, May, June 2020. And then column B is the new housing unit for fiscal year 2021. And all this number is collect from you. It is you guys' jurisdiction and gave to PAC, and we do the review and report to AOEO. And column C is the summation of A and B is the total new houses since census 2020. Column D is the demolition of those 3 months, Q2. Column E is the demolition of fiscal year 2021. Column F is the total demolition since 2020, census 2020. So column G is the cumulative net increase of housing units since census. So that's why it is C minus F, because that is net increase, cumulative net increase since census. Column I is a summation of column G and H that get the net total. Oh, I forgot to tell you about column H. H is the census count. That is the census housing unit count published by Census Bureau. And that we use that number as the base and then add all the cumulative increase in column G and then become in column I. Next slide. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so we saw the column I, right? And we saw all those housing units. So let's look at the population. Column A is the same as what we show you the previous, column H just show you in the previous slide. And column B is the census household population published by Census Bureau. So it's the census report. Okay, this number is divided by the column, divide the column B by the column A. And so you get a person per housing unit. This number will remain no change for the whole decade. This is the census person per housing unit. And this is the multiplier. Multiplier remain for the whole decade. Column D is the same as column I that in the previous slide that I already showed you. And that is the July 1st, 2021 housing unit. So column E is to take July 2021 housing unit, multiply with the person per housing unit to estimate the household population. As mentioned, that we need to adjust with the annexation, right? Because the boundary, what you get this population, because you were using the census housing unit count. So we have to adjust it with all those change, accumulate all those change since census or the annexation population changed, add together. So because right now only 15 months, so that's why it is showing 0 because there were no annexation from any jurisdiction last 15 months. So that's why it's seeing all the 0 because this vintage have no annexation. In column G is summation of column E and F. It is a summation of all the jurisdiction to get the county household population of 1,026,000. Remember, you saw it in the previous slide, and that is uncontrolled. It is a summation for all 6 jurisdiction household population by using the household housing unit method to get this 1,026,000. So as what we showed you at the beginning in this previous slides, we also get the divided household population, 1,034,489. That is divided household population. So these two numbers is not the same. How to make it the same? So we need to get the control factor is using the divided household population divided by uncontrolled household population and get that 0.8%. It is 1.007896, which is mean actually 0.8% different. So each jurisdiction will be adjusted, will get increased by 0.8% population by apply this control factor. So that's why there's a column I here, we call it control the household population. After you apply this increase of 0.8%, the total of controlled household population add up together and will supposed to be will be the same as the divided household population was 1,034,000. Then this household population add back to the GQ population to become the total population in column K. And then this summation of the column K for each jurisdiction should be equal to what the AOEO using SPSS method to get the predicted county total, 1,058,318. This number should be the same. So any questions? This is my last slide for the presentation. Is there any question how or why we do that? Or is Jim, you're still here. Do you have anything that you want to add to my presentation or anything that I missed out? Suppose you want to add to it, any comment that you want to tell our jurisdiction, tell to our audience?
Well, thank you, Caroline. You did a good job, great job explaining the method we used. It's the county control was not a very sophisticated method that, like Caroline pointed out, and we just the data points that we usually use are just not here this year. So we have to come up with a different method. So that's what we came up with. But in some counties, the uncontrolled household population is actually the same as the controlled household population. But in Pima County, it worked out that the controlled population was a little bit higher than the household population. The household method, the housing unit method would give us. There was one slide you talked about the data that we use at the county and the state level. And some are unavailable and some are late. One is the Social Security. There you left it blank. I can tell you that I just received the Social Security data last night. So that's we already finalized the population estimates, and that's not a way to use that data to do it. Normally, that data would be available in July, and we just got it last night. So that's another example of how difficult this year is. Okay, that's all I want to add. Thank you.
Yeah, if you get it last night, it's kind of really rushed, try to finish all the composite method, right? It's still probably, it is really not worth to use a composite method.
Yeah, we just
really have all the
cannot
data.
do it this year. And also, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you from the jurisdictions, from all the cities who send your data to Caroline's Way, and Caroline summarized them and send them to us. These data are really important, and you help us, and we hope this data will be useful to you. I mean, when we turn them into population estimates, and if you don't submit the data to her, those 69, 320, whatever that is, they become zero. So that's going to hurt you big time if you don't send those to her. So keep up the great work. Thank you very much.
Just in case, and to the jurisdictional partners, thank you so much for your and the support. And just in case, I'm sharing just the housing unit portion, and which is actually just reported the housing units from you and the jurisdictional partners. Or if you have just any questions and for the numbers and there's something not right, and especially for those like just the column B, column D, column E, and as well as the column A. So maybe it's just a good time to just reach out to us and as soon as possible. Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you for the presentation, Caroline, and Jim for adding to that. Our next agenda item is the Census Bureau Public Use Microdata Area, the PUMA Delineation and Count Question Resolution Program, CQR. And I believe Eric is going to lead this one off, and Hinsu's going to close it with the covering the CQR content. So Eric. You're mute.
Sorry, my mute
No
was
yeah, I didn't
was not appearing for some reason. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to talk about the 2020 PUMA delineation. It's this time of the decade, we have a lot of things going on with the census. We've had the delineation of tracts and block groups earlier, and now following the census, we have the PUMA delineation. PUMAs are public use microdata areas. These are statistical geographic areas within states. And they have minimum of 100,000 population, maximum of about 200. And these are defined, the boundaries are defined every decade. And PUMA is a geography is used to tabulate and disseminate the census information of the public use microdata sample data, PUMS data, which is can be the decennial census, but also the American Community Survey. And it's a 5% sample of those 100,000 to 200,000 population area. And you can, the the interesting thing about, or the unique thing about this, is that you can use this data to create custom tables, cross tabulations, things of that sort that are not otherwise available in the in either the decennial census or the American Community Survey. And PUM's data is, again, it's individual records, individual person and household characteristics. So you can use that, and we use it at PAG routinely to create data sets that we're in for our travel demand modeling. For example, we're developing an activity-based travel demand model, which uses a synthetic population at the parcel level. And so with the sample data, we can get individual records and use that to synthetically create a model of our population at the parcel level. Okay, so just overall timeline of this. The training for the delineation has started in the fall, and right now we are in the delineation phase. It's a 90-day period, and I've already drafted a draft of our PUMAs that we can review together. And then at the end of January, the January 24th is the hard deadline to submit this delineation to the Arizona State Data Center. And then that in turn will be packaged, all the different COGs or the different councils of government who have submitted this will be packaged up and sent to the census at the end of January. And by summer 2022, will be published. Okay, so just about some background on the PUMA program. PUMAs and the microdata began with the 1960 census. And the program allows local data users to have some say in what the delineation is. And in Arizona, at any rate, the state data center coordinates with the councils of governments who are the folks who make the delineations. And we in turn, we delineate, but we also seek input from stakeholders, so who be our member jurisdictions and other folks. So using local knowledge and interest, we can sort of get input on what we delineated, and so on and so forth. Criteria. So as I said before, there's a minimum of 100,000 population. It can't be declining, and a maximum of around 200,000 for each PUMA. The building blocks are census tracts and counties. That's why it happens after the census or after the delineation of tracts at any rate. So we have new fresh tracts that we can use to build the PUMAs, and of course counties as well, but those are not changing. PUMAs must fall within the state boundaries, so that ideally they should be within or outside statistical areas like the metropolitan statistical area, which is Pima County here. They should avoid splitting urbanized areas or Census Bureau defined urban areas. They should avoid unnecessary splitting of jurisdictional boundaries. So we try to have each PUMA belong, or at least have, if we have a town or a city, we try to have it within a PUMA or not split that unnecessarily. Sometimes it's necessary. Tucson has over near 600,000 population, so we have to split it. And we avoid splitting American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian areas. Continuing, we have PUMAs may cross county boundaries, and this is something that we would like to do this time. I'll talk about it in a second, but one of the new things for 2020 is that the threshold for those for those smaller geographies, if you're crossing a county boundary, they have to have at least 100,000 population. Previously, it was 2,400, and that's largely because of disclosure avoidance. So, yeah, statistically, you don't have a way to figure out who those folks are. You know. All right, and our 2010 Pumas, we have 9 of them. I mean, we could have a smaller number, but it's really in the region's interest to have to optimize the number of Pumas to get the most information we can. All right, so this is the boundary. The red boundary are the current Pumas. The blue is the urbanized area. And as you see to the north in the green, that is the Saddlebrook area, our census defined place, Saddlebrook. Now we'd like to include these 2 tracts in Pinal County. And this time there is enough population there. It's above 10,000, so we meet that criteria. And that area is also, I mean, it's part of the Tucson urbanized area. So there are folks that are commuting or driving into using Pima County roads. And so we'd like to include that area in this north central Pima County, Oro Valley town, Puma here. And so yeah. So just initially, my thought is to keep our existing Puma boundaries, but to modify them to incorporate changes such as annexations to accommodate the tracts and the minimum, but also to sort of look at the minimum, look at that threshold, 100,000 population, to help sort of optimize the number of Pumas that we have. And sometimes this can be a kind of a puzzle because I mean, in my initial draft, I looked at that and there are certain Pumas that were close to the threshold. So I wanted to make a little more, give a little more buffer around those and also accommodate, for example, things that were the boundaries that, for example, some of the jurisdictions, not all their jurisdictional boundaries were included in certain Pumas. So I tried to help there wherever possible. But anyway, so as far as the Saddlebrook area, we had a discussion with the Central Arizona Council of Governments representative, and they were fine. They were they agreed with our logic and rationale for that, so that's fine. We've already approved that, and as I said, it meets the 10,000 population threshold. It's part of the urbanized area of Tucson. So yes, and our next steps. So as I said, I made a draft of the Puma delineation. It's available at this link here on our web map viewer, and we'd like to ask that folks comment on that by the end of December, please. Because again, if there are changes that have to be made, that could involve some individual meetings and back and forth. Again, as I said, it can be kind of puzzle-like because you add a tract here, you subtract a tract there, and suddenly you're close to the 100,000 threshold. So that's a little complicated, but so anyway, we seek your input, and We've already discussed the inclusion of Saddlebrook. And again, reminder of the timeline. So we have to have everything submitted to the State Data Center January 24th. So have everything comments by the end of December. Then we have like 3 weeks to make any modifications to the draft and then hand it in. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Oh, do you have any questions? And yes, and who's? I'm sorry. So yeah, go ahead. And yeah, I see the request. Jason.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Yeah, Eric, thanks for your work on this. It's really important. Can you just remind us, I believe this is the case, but the PUMA delineation decisions that we make at the state level, those directly influence the place of work and migration PUMAs that are determined by the Census Bureau. Is that right?
I'm not sure about that. I'd have to look that up. But I would think, yeah, I would think anything that is a PUMA is any PUMA geography that PUMS data is included in that would be affected.
Okay.
Yes, I mean it's. But again, I could follow up with you if do some research on that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about in terms of the migration and commuting analysis. I believe those are Census Bureau decisions, but for those of us that are working in that area, the longitudinal, comparability over time can be really important. So anyway, we can chat more about it offline.
Right. Again, I don't foresee radical changes here, but yeah. Anyway.
This is Jim. I don't know if I can chime in here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, any PUMA that the Census Bureau use will be the same PUMA that Eric is putting together. So when you say the state make decision, the state really does not make decision. My office, we are just aggregating whatever you give us. So we're more of a organizing, coordinating role. So whatever Eric give to the state data center, which is part of the state demographer's office, we're not going to make any changes. So we're going to just put everything together and forward one statewide file to the Census Bureau, and the Census Bureau will most likely adopt those changes, assuming all the PUMAs adhere to the standard, to the restrictions, all the standards that we put out.
So Jim, do you know then, obviously those are the building blocks for those bigger PUMAs, the migration PUMAs and the POW PUMAs. Do you know, does the Census Bureau make those decisions? And if so, do they?
I'm not familiar with that. Those are actually new to me, the migration PUMAs. I'm not familiar with those specific ones.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And then maybe just can share my video. And good afternoon again. And I want to just talk about the 2020 count question resolution and the census and the official process. And here's the list of contents I want to just talk in this afternoon. What is the CQR and the timeline, and the cases and procedure, and how PAC can support for this CQR cases. So what is the first CQR and the count question resolution? And as I said, which is official kind of a reviewing process of the 2020 census count of housing unit and the population and impacted by just geographical processing errors. So mainly for just improving the post-2020 census population estimates instead of correcting the existing and 2020 census products per se, or just collecting a new data set like just a special census. Also just this reviewing process would now address the census disclosure avoidance system, and which is called the differential privacy, the method, and also the CQR cases should be submitted by the highest elected or just appointed officials of tribal, states, counties, consolidated cities, and incorporated places or minor civil division. And there was some notification, and it was I kind of just checked and which is available and about the CQR submission process. And here is the how you can just participate and through this and information. So the census encouraged and to submit the cases and using code like SWIM and the secure web incoming module, and with one of the following digital methods: 2020 census block maps, which is a PDF, the file, and geographic update partnership software, which was talked earlier for the PUMA delineation, GOPS in the software, or just if you have a capability in the GI software could be used as well. And also just available those participant materials, 2020 CQR participant guides, and the 2020 census address count listing files viewer, mainly for just the block level, and the CQR block count list as well, and the address list template files, and 2020 census block maps, and the 2021 partnership shape files, and GOPS software as well. You can find those kind of more information through the link below. And here's the timeline. And CQR plus just the new program in the census, the started, and called the PCGQR, and which is post-census group quarters review. And as I said, this is new and mainly for correcting the issues on group quarters. And you can find that the more just the information Federal Register, and through just a link above, like just clicking just PCGQR later. And the timeline in December 2021, and census plans to officially notify tribal, state, and local government officials eligible to file CQI cases. And January 3 is the starting date for CQI cases submission. So you can consider that. And from January 3, 2022, and through the, here just in the red, and the June 30, 2023. So roughly just 18 months, and you can submit in the CQR cases. And but meanwhile, it's just the PCGQR is not just the clearly kind of just the say the date, but spring roughly according to the Federal Register, the spring 2022 through just summer 2023, so which is roughly the same, especially for the deadline of that and the PCGQR case submission. So September 30, 2023 is the deadline for Census Bureau to provide result to impacted governmental units. So here I have some 3 cases, and mainly to address 2 major and cases in the count case and the boundary case. And for the first count cases, and mainly just relate to just the geocoding. And you see this in the example, just upper one, the lower one. The upper one, you see that the 3 and the housing units, and those are actually just misplaced and then just corrected later. And out of the boundaries is the bottom one, and especially for those in the living quarters, housing units, and the apartment, the mobile home, and the military vessels. And those dots in the housing units is actually not available from those the participant material, which was shown on the slide 4 through the link. And but the PAG is going to just provide that kind of just information, and also just the correction and any associated population within the corrected boundaries and census tabulation blocks, and also need to be addressed as well. And the second case of the count cases is a coverage issue. So if it is a typical like or missing or just duplicate, so simply add or just delete the specific living quarters, and that's the case. So in this example, on the right side, you see that for additional in the living quarters in the housing units added newly. So which is the case of the coverage issue. So those are the updates, and in terms of adding or deleting, is based on just as of April 1st in the 2020, based on the census, 2020 census. And the second major case and the third case is of the individual, and the boundary cases, which is not, and I don't expect to just many and thing happens like this. And if there's any issues and incorrect and inaccurate in the boundaries, and you can just address that, and as well as just the relevant housing units, and which is mainly related to the annexation issue and mostly. But you can address that and in block double and any kind of issues. So here's the overall and the CQR procedure after submitting on top and submitting CQR cases to census, and the census team will review it if it is in scope or not, out of scope. And if it is in scope, and the census team will review it, and after just the processing and those the cases. And if the error found, then just the census team will provide in resolution and the certified counts. If not, if it is out of scope, either out of scope or just there is no processing error found, then there shouldn't be an update. So inform, just notify no changes to the representative. And how PAC is going to support this and the CQR case submission. So we actually presented in the October in the PopTech meeting regarding just the census 2020 analysis and DAS and differential privacy analysis. We found some issues, and which might be a kind of just a gray area, and because of CQR cases, it mainly and relevant to the housing unit or agricultural unit, such like that. But some issues, and we found the population and versus the household around the 460 around just 470 blocks, and they have positive household population with 0 household, and the 33 blocks positive household with 0 household population. Also, we found some issues in there in terms of understanding persons per household, and either very small, less than 1, or very large, and larger than 10. So also just we found in the 47 blocks, they have all just under 18-year-old population is occupied. So we might just, this kind of information might be their starting point, addressing their issues. And if needed, and PEG is going to just review together with the jurisdictional partners in terms of just supporting this, the CQR case submission. So here you can find the more just resources in the CQR process, and from just the census website, and through Federal Register, you can find the CQR, PCGQR, the information. So this is the all just presentation I prepared today. If you have any questions about the CQR, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks, Hinsu. Yeah, so the June 2023 deadline is further out, but we will. It's always good to kind of get moving on some of these analysis. So, you know, if there's any questions from jurisdictional partners, you're going to have access to information that we're not necessarily going to have access to with respect to the Luca Point address files as is depicted in those graphics. So we do not have access to that data, but that's something that you're going to, you know, can be useful as you review. But we just kind of wanted to lay out the time frame here. And we are, you know, available to support any questions or inquiries that you may have. So don't hesitate to reach out to our team, and we can address the issues as they come up. So Hinsu, thanks for stepping through that. Does anyone on the call have any questions regarding the CQR process?
Yeah, Josh, this is Dean from City of Tucson.
Hey, Dean.
Hey, we had a meeting earlier today with our GIS staff and PDSD staff and a couple others. And we're concerned about some potential undercounts, particularly around the University of Arizona and on the south side. We're gonna start doing some analysis, looking at building permit data and try to pinpoint the discrepancies.
Okay.
And you know, the other question we had, you know, is how is PAG going to support us in this? And you guys address that. We'll be reaching out to you guys.
Okay. Hinsu, were you gonna chime in?
Oh, no, actually, that's great. So just either Josh and me, and just send me any just email, and we can set up a meeting, and also, and if possible, just we can bring our just analysis together at the meeting.
Okay, and one more question. Is the approach for undercount appeals, is that going to be regionally, individually, or by jurisdiction, or do we know yet?
So the basic the data set, the participant material is available is a block level. So, and any just the area, and we can address in the block level.
But who would be responding to it? It'd be coming from the jurisdictional, the top official in the jurisdiction.
Yes.
Correct. So that would be coming from your top official.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would be happy to help look at that. There's also fairly detailed housing unit information that Hinsu and his teams maintains through the building permit, but also an analysis of the assessor's content. So that may be of assistance as well. So let's schedule that time to follow up.
Sure.
All right. Anyone else have any questions about this this task? All right. With that, Hinsu, do you want to move to the next slide? We really appreciate everyone's time today. It's great having a number of new names and faces, and I look forward to next year. We would be anticipating getting into more of a routine with our schedule. So we ideally are going to be targeting quarterly meetings. So we'll try to project that out a little bit better for you all as we're going to be ramping up towards the projection exercise and then the sub-county projection exercise. So really appreciate everyone's time and look forward to connecting with you all next year. And I hope everyone has a happy and healthy and safe holiday season. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much. Meeting's adjourned at 2:27.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.